Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Do you know that Chigumu, Chimimina, ndi Chikondamoyo ndi zinthu zitatu zosiyana? Whatever I'm going to say here is banter, it makes sense to me. Anthu ambiri amakonda nena kuti akaphika Chigumu when they are referring to Chimimina, and apika Chikondamoyo when they are referring to Chigumu. So today, this video, you will know the difference between Chigumu, Chikondamoyo, and Chimimina. Chigumu is the cake that you make from just ngaiwa, the madzi, sugar, kanchele, and soda. The maize is very common in Midzimu. The base is whole grain flour, ngaiwa, or you can even use gram-meal. Yeah, which one should go? Chimimina, the chimene waika kontochi. Waika kontochi, whole grain meal, kandi ngaiwa, kandi grain meal, the soda, sugar, kanchele, mbanga kekecha. Chimene chimimina. Chikondamoyo, the chimene waika mo ntochi, kakufakaja, mazira, nkaka, mina stoko, chimene Chikondamoyo. There's no evidence to back it up, but it makes sense. We can't be saying that Chigumu when you know what you see. It's not just. There should be a way of differentiating it. So today I've taught you how you can differentiate the three. So in this video, I'm going to make Chikondamoyo. Chikondamoyo. Okay, let's do this.
And God is found in the stillness, God is found in the slowing down. And that's what we can truly be able to have, the connection behind it, where it's almost becoming from a belief that is so staring into your heart of who you are, who you came from, and knowing that you are loved because you came from God. And if God is love, and He said in His word to imitate God, then that means you are too. There's no ifs, ands, or buts behind it. But you got to operate from it. But when I say that, as a human, we take that, and usually that first day, we have so much, in quotations, motivation behind it. But as soon as another thought comes up, we believe that next thought, as opposed to taking that thought and observing it and looking at it as for what it is. And being able to uproot that from there. You gotta have patience also with who you've been, because we've been programmed for that long. So love and compassion, I believe, is first and foremost that starting with is how you're able to even start that journey of change. Remember, you don't try to love and have compassion. It just is. You just are. That's the foundation. You don't try to be that or what God called you or He says about you. You are it. It just is. That's what you flow from. But you have to be able to be still and slow down. So your nervous system can even catch up and actually believe the truth that God is trying to implant into your heart. That don't necessarily mean you have to go into, a whole lot of isolation. The isolation could be even with just within. This should be your home where you're alive in God. Is it internal? That should be your home. That should be your space where nobody can touch besides God. Not even family members, not even friends, not even nobody. Your internal should be your home. And majority of those deeper meanings all relate to the world, but on the spiritual side in a way. Depending what perspective you look at it. The movie I was watching was Kung Fu Panda. Pretty sure it goes up to 3 or 4, or it might be 4 or 5. But each one has which one goes off of the external and which one goes off of the internal. And the internal moves off of the internal. And the tiger, which is Tai Lung, he moves off of the external. On my perspective, Tai Lung was moving off of force. He was moving off of validation, he was moving off of proving, and he was moving off of shame, he was moving off of guilt. And all those internal actions show in the external rise. Because everything, even though he was the strongest cat, the strongest person, they couldn't hold him in a cage, they put him in the strongest cage, even though he was that strong, in a way he was still not as strong as he thought he was. Because he was seeking everything from moving off of letting everything be and accepting everything as it is. And his strength, which he was one of the coldest, he was moving from that. He said it was based off of love and being able to let it go. He was flowing off of flow, and he was flowing off of being in a state of I don't know. For the Tai Lung, what he was doing was he was trying to find a scroll. And the scroll, in his mind, he believed it will make him the most powerful carrying warrior. The turtle and his crew were protecting the scroll. Tai Lung ended up grabbing the scroll, and the scroll ended up having nothing in it. Where you come from, you know that whatever we see, whatever we're in right now in the world, whatever all of this is, you know that that is the illusion. You know that this is just for play in a way. Not putting emotions down, not detaching from everything, but just being able to know that the Creator has the control of it, but He also gave you the mini controller. So being able to realize that you can go through this journey and go through this life of knowing truth itself. I was just reflecting yesterday. I had wrote down, once you're outside of your room and you look down into the room, you will realize there's no room to begin with. And that goes to show how we, myself, us as humans, there's truly no cage in itself. There's truly no block in itself. It's just something that we've created ourselves to make us think that an illusion is real. But once you
saying that while this is a defensive pact, it's not against Iran or against Israel or against India, but those are clearly the adversaries that these nations do have, and some of them overlap and some don't. But to say that there is absolutely no risk that that will be who this pact ultimately ends up targeting is possibly avoiding the actual topic and the point of the pact in the first place.
Well, I mean, to borrow the phrase that Zayed
through every obstacle he holds onto one hope.
Russia trade attacks. At least 3 people are killed in Kiev, while Ukrainian forces hit Russian oil facilities. Thailand warns 8 people killed in a school shooting. The Bible stories promising stricter gun laws. And from the mountains of Machu Picchu to pristine forests in Honduras, the race to save World Heritage Sites on Inside My Head. Continues its hardline stance of Australia from loose, issuing new bonds before it's reopened. Oman and Iran have been negotiating a new route after saying a deal is close. But Mohammed Al-Zounabi, the commander in Iran's Revolutionary Guard and the secretary of the Supreme National Security Council, says the strait won't open unless the U.S. quote corrects its behavior. He's listed new conditions more on Iran's position on the strait.
These are very strong messages, however not new, but what do they mean? First, Iranians are saying that the Strait of Hormuz is going to be conditionally reopened depending upon the courses of action taken by the United States. Second, Iran is rejecting the previous trajectory used for ships and vessels to transit through this geostrategically significant choke point, saying that there are new geographical ships and vessels indicative of the level of control and authority Iran is trying to practice pertaining to this strait. Third, they're talking about a temporary trajectory, saying that further diplomacy can pave the way for a long-term solution about this strait. And last but not the least, it's not